Hello and welcome back to the Azure DevOps course. In this lecture, we'll start creating our Azure DevOps organization. Before starting, you must have an Azure Cloud subscription. I told you in the introduction lecture that you could have an Azure free subscription for 30 days. It will give you $200 credits. But after the 30 days pass, you must upgrade to the pay-as-you-go subscription. So now I'm opening the Azure portal. So to create the Azure DevOps organization, you can go here in the search bar and type DevOps. It will give you here the Azure DevOps organizations. Click on it. Go down here in my Azure DevOps organizations. It will open the Azure DevOps portal. But before creating your Azure DevOps organization, you can choose if you want to connect with your Azure Active Directory or using your Microsoft account. I'm connecting with my Azure Active Directory. This connection between Azure DevOps and the Azure Active Directory will help you in adding new users from your Azure Active Directory. We will see how to make a use of it after making the organization. So let's start creating the organization. Create here. Continue. Now you will choose to type the name of your organization. I will make it with my name, Osama. Continue. Now I created my Azure DevOps organization with my name. So now it gives you here that if you want to create a project, type the project name, and it gives you to create only private project. If you want to make your project public, it's closed by default. Public projects are disabled for your organization by default. To make it enabled, you can go to the organization policies by typing here and click here to allow the public projects. Save. If you return back, you can now create a public project. Okay, before creating the public project, I want to make a demo of how to add a user from the Azure Active Directory to your Azure DevOps. Now in my Azure Active Directory, if I type Microsoft Entra ID here, it is my Active Directory. If I go to the users, I created a user here named Osama with this name for the account. If I go in the organization setting here on users and I try to add a new user, if I type the name of the user in the Active Directory, it will appear here because we connected our Azure DevOps organization with the Active Directory. And here is the access level that we talked about the last lesson. I can make it basic or stakeholder or Visual Studio subscriber if this user has a Visual Studio subscription. So we can give it here the basic. So now I added Osama user. If I try to log in with this email, let's open an incognito tab. So we use another session for Azure. If we type hey dev.azure.com, this is the portal of Azure DevOps. If we sign in with Osama user account, enter the password, sign in to our Azure DevOps organization. So after logging into Azure, if I go to Azure DevOps organizations, in my Azure DevOps organizations, and choose my organization here that we created, Osama 25. Now Osama is a member. If I click here, I open the organization of Azure DevOps with my user that I created in the Azure Active Directory. But this user now doesn't have the sufficient permission to create a project. I just created a user for Azure DevOps, but it doesn't have any permission. It only have a read permission. So if I wanted to make a project, should be it should have an administrator permission. So we will not go through this permissions and the security stuff now. We will leave it for the end. That's the end of this lesson. In the next lesson, we will start creating Azure DevOps project.